o'clock on August 6th. So we're doing PMP study hours or office hours with myself, Adam Kubel. I'm from Osprey Project Consulting. So basically this is a set period of time that we'll do once a week and get folks the opportunity to ask any questions you might have around a PMP or a CAPM exam. So if this is your first time tuning in, my name is Adam Kubel. I'm a managing partner with Osprey Project Consulting, and I've been a PMP trainer for about 3 years now. PMP certified myself and a Scrum Master. Been doing PM stuff for about 14 years as a project manager and really enjoy training folks. So if you are looking to ask a trainer a couple of questions around explaining a concept or understanding perhaps why you got an answer incorrect or what's the logic behind a question, I'm here for that in this kind of an open forum today. So that's kind of the thought or the plan with it at least. In the absence of any questions, I'll just go through what to expect on the exam today in our live so that you can get at least a better understanding of what does the exam look like. So while folks are kind of joining here, let's get started. So if you don't know what the PMP is, it's the Project Management Professional Certification. It comes from the PMI, or the Project Management Institute. It's the governing body that does the certification of project managers who choose to opt into that. Project management is not a regulated profession. Some disciplines within or under the umbrella of project management, like engineering, for example, is going to have a lot more rigorous body overseeing the work of the project manager. Project management itself as a discipline or as a trade, not regulated in any way. The PMI is a body that serves a certification for folks who just want to demonstrate that they have the requisite ethics or approved ethics, and they have some competencies that are measured a bit more closely from the PMI. So the PMP is a great certification for folks looking to get into looking to solidify their careers as a project manager. A lot of folks look at it like it's a stepping stone, and it absolutely is. But in order to get the PMP, you have to have a certain amount of years of experience. So it's going to be 35 hours of in-class project management experience, but also you'd have to have about 3 years experience of leading projects yourself. So you have to have that in order to just sit down to write the exam. If you're looking to get into project management, however, looking for certifications, the CAPM or the Certified Associate in Project Management, that's going to be your next best alternative. That one does require you to have some in-class education around 23 hours per student, but there's no work experience requirements. So you can actually get a CAPM with just the in-class training, and that's it. So you don't have to have the same years of experience. Hey Vicky, thanks for joining. Hey Country Living. Vicky, we're in Country Living. We're just doing a PMI or PM study hall. So if you are looking to, or PM office hours, I should say. If you're writing a CAPM or a PMP exam, this is a great forum for you to just ask me any questions that you got. I'm a PM by trade, but also a training provider for folks, and I host and do all sorts of project management training courses as well. So if you're looking to study for your PMP, this is a great spot for you to ask some questions. Hopefully you have a couple of questions. If not, it's cool. We're just going through what's the PMP in the first place. Hello, Aladdin. Welcome. How's it going, folks? Yeah, this is your chance. Ask a PMP or PM trainer some questions. That's what we're doing here. It's study hall effectively. So hopefully you're looking to write your CAPM or PMP exam. This is your forum to quiz me. I'm in the hot seat for you to help you get prepped up and ready to go for your PMP exam. So PMP itself, 180 multiple choice questions. That gives you about a minute and 17 seconds per question in order to actually finish this exam on time. So you do have to be careful with your time management on the exam. This is how a lot of people fail it, is because they think that they take too long answering the questions, and all of a sudden they'll find that, shit, I ran out of time. They can't complete the exam, and if it just cuts you off. It's not an automatic fail if you don't complete, but you walk away from whatever questions are left unanswered, and that can have a really bad impact on your score. So you definitely want to make sure you're timing yourself appropriately on it. You can get the or write the exam in person or online. So in person is what I would recommend for most of my students to do. So you need to go through Pearson VUE, which is the testing center effectively that gets folks ready to go. Yeah, book an exam date and plan exactly when you want to sit the exam. You can do it any day of your choosing. You can go at any time of your choosing as well. So yeah, it's a good option for folks. A lot of folks who write that exam though, they're not used to sitting for 4 hours, and they're not used to being in a really heavily guarded exam situation. What they end up doing there to folks is, you'll sit and write your exam. There'll be cameras looking at you. There's people kind of monitoring you, making sure that you're not cheating, etc. So it can feel pretty overwhelming, I think, for folks who are just kind of new to it. A couple of questions in chat, and again, if you've got questions about the PMP, CAPM, or project management in general, just fire away. That's what I'm here for. I'm a PMP trainer, project management professional myself, and train folks to get up to speed to run projects. So what kind of math equations should I memorize? So this has always been a problem or a concern for folks who are writing the PMP. The PMP is not a math exam. It's going to test you on the logic behind some of the formulas that are there. You used to have to do a little bit of algebra to kind of reverse engineer or work out, solve for x, that kind of thing. But the formulas you're going to want to, focus on are the formulas heavily rooted in earned value management, or EVM. So estimate at completion, estimate to complete, understanding more so what those are telling you instead of how to calculate them. I would definitely recommend to folks to memorize the formula so that you understand what the question is asking you. So CPI is a measure of cost performance index, for example. By memorizing the formula, you can also understand what goes into it, which could help you on further questions on the exam. But don't be afraid. You don't have to do math on the exam, but my recommendation rather is to, the first 5 minutes of your exam, first 10 minutes, take the notepad and piece of paper and write down those formulas in advance, so you're able to just kind of get yourself ready and make sure that you have those formulas written down in case it comes up. The other thing that's also a tip or trick for those who are writing the exam is it's not uncommon for them to ask this versions of the same question a couple of times. So if you write down those formulas, you might see a few questions on ETC, or estimate to complete questions. If you have it written down and you've already seen it a few times in past or previous questions, it sets you up a little bit better for the next. And because you can go back and forth in the exam, so you can go backwards on an exam question or skip forwards if you want to, you can kind of jog your own memory by, if they asked you a question about ETC 5 or 6 questions back, and now you're on another question that's a similar vein, you can reference the two and kind of help you deduce the logic to help you find the most incorrect option first, and then work your way back towards the most correct option. That's another thing folks struggle with on the exam is the PMP. The way these questions are written, same for the CAPM, is it's the most correct question or the most correct answer out of all the options that you've got. It's not necessarily the most correct thing that you should do in the real world, but it's more so an evaluation of your logic to work your way backwards and figure out what is the most correct option out of the options that you have. So based on your experience, sometimes you look at the options ahead of you and say, well, none of this shit's correct. This doesn't make sense. But there's always going to be one or two in some instances that are the most correct given the options that you have. So they'll typically give you a question that's kind of a throwaway, something that is so obviously incorrect that it's not worth considering. Once you've eliminated that, you're just down to 2 or 3 options. So then by a process of elimination, teasing apart which ones are the most correct until you're at least between a 50-50. That's not a unique thing for the PMP or CAPM necessarily. That's just a best practice for writing a multiple choice exam. Whittle down the options so that you're at least torn between 2 potentials. But yeah, a lot of folks struggle with that thing as well. A couple other things for writing the PMP exam. You got to make sure that you have your ID with you if you're writing it in person. So they're going to ask for a valid ID with your picture on it and a signature. They'll look for 2 pieces of ID. It's just super similar to just going to an airport. It kind of feels the same way in that they ask you for that ID. They're going to put you through a metal detector on your way in just to make sure you don't have any audio, video, or recording devices. And yeah, basically it feels super bloody uncomfortable. Has anybody written an exam here that where you have to go through one of those adjudicating measures where they make you go through a metal detector or have to empty your pockets? If anybody on chats or done anything like that, let me know. I've done I've done a few. I've done the GMAT and the PMP. It does feel super scary. It automatically makes you feel like you've done something wrong. Is the PMP only in Canada or only for Canada? No, PMP is international, effectively. You can be in Canada where I am at in North America, or you could be anywhere in the world and get a PMP or CAPM certification. In chat, let me know where you're from. Shout out to your country. We can do a quick kind of quiz or map on that and then see if anybody's got any other certs besides the PMP. The PMP is most popular in North America and parts of Asia. In Europe, the Prince 2 is the certification that's kind of most typically used. One isn't better than the other. It's just a kind of a how that culture or community of project managers tends to value or tends to move towards one certification or another. I do have a Prince 2 certification. I got that a few years ago. It's more or less the same as a PMP, but that's Projects in Controlled Environments 2, and that came from the UK government. Actually, it was made for IT projects that they ran out in the UK there. Either of those certifications equivalent, but let me know in chat if you've got any other certifications in project management or which certification you're looking to get, CAPM, PMP, Prince 2, or other. There's a whole bunch of other certifications that exist within the project management discipline or within the field of business. ITIL is a very popular one. There's certifications for risk management. There's certifications for everything. These things, take them with a grain of salt. Just because you have a certification doesn't mean you're ready to, run a massive construction project or run a, large scale, deployment. You have to still have a little bit of work experience. You still have to continually grow. Just because you have a certification doesn't mean you are qualified and ready to run without any kind of support networks at all. A lot of folks typically look at, especially managers, they look at, okay, I've sent my staff off to get a training course. Now they're qualified and they can run this stuff independently without me. That's not the case. People always need, a little bit more work experience. The certs help you speak the language, but getting the actual work experience is what's going to help you, progress in your career to actually take on the big projects. It definitely helps you get your resume to the top of the stack, which these days is, I think, a big concern for lots of folks. Making sure that you're standing out amongst all the folks that have either switching jobs or are being laid off these days. But just be mindful of that. The other cool thing with the PMP and the CAPM as well is they require you to maintain those certifications through professional development units or PDUs. Basically, it's just hours of education that you're required to have to maintain your certification. What that does is it allows you to, it's not a one and done certificate. It should, by keeping and needing to maintain your PDUs, you're constantly learning and you're constantly networking with project managers in your area. So it's a really great way to kind of stay connected to the community and stay up to date in project management stuff. There's lots of different tools that are being used in project management these days, like Jira, MS Project, Trello, and Microsoft Planner has just kind of launched, at least in my organization. It might have been around for a while. Let me know in chat what kind of tools you guys use to manage your projects, if it's Jira, Project, or otherwise. By maintaining the PDUs, you stay a little bit more familiar with the different types of tools that are being used. So you can gain more exposure to Jira, Confluence, etc., just from taking online training courses or participating in PMI networking events, etc. So it's that continual learning thing which really helps you stay fresh in the project management space, so that your skills don't get a little stagnant, etc. So definitely something to watch out for. I do struggle with some of the networking events. That's not something I'm so interested in, but if you're going to these where you're meeting, where you're working with a speaker and you're learning a little bit more about the cohort of PMs that you got in your community, it's super helpful. It can be awkward for folks if your personality type isn't, super outgoing or gregarious, and having that small talk can be a bit hard for folks, but if you're able to get around that, you can meet a lot of really cool people and help you stay on top of PM stuff and network. And I think we chatted about this in the last live that we did, but your network is your net worth. That's a common phrase or saying these days with the amount of layoffs and attrition that's been going on. I'd be surprised if folks on this live here haven't been impacted in some way from layoffs within their company or within their business. The more folks you have in your network, the more safety nets you've got. So if you lose a position or lose your job, the more folks you have that know you, that you stay in contact with within the professional community, that's your ticket to your next position. I think every job that I have had has become or come from someone that I knew. Somebody suggested I apply, somebody introduced me, etc. And that's kind of the path for project managers. Let me know in chat if you've ever had your network help you find a job. I think that's kind of the secret sauce to today's job economy. Applying online as a faceless person, I suppose, on like an intake form is one thing, but if you have a buddy or a friend inside the org, that's typically how you get it these days. Let me know in chat if that's how you found your job, or if you're looking for a job right now, let me know in chat. You could use this as a good networking opportunity too. How do you find a mentor? So thanks for asking that. It depends. You can have formal mentor-mentee structures in your org or within your company. Where I work, we've got a structure for folks where you can be paired with a senior, with a junior, and you ask questions. If you don't have that kind of a formal mentor-mentee relationship or structure within your org, you can try to seek it out. So seeking it out through the PMI, the Project Management Institute, is definitely one way to do it. They can pair you with folks, formally or informally. The other thing you can do is just start asking for mentorship, either through your organization, through somebody that that's there that you admire, and ask them, hey, can you take me on as a mentee? I have some thoughts or questions. The other thing that I've found oddly successful is, depending on the service line that you work in, if you have a relationship or build a relationship with either the client or the vendor that you're working with, a lot of the times they'll be open to that mentor relationship because it helps with business development, and it also helps make sure that you guys are strengthening your ties, your connections between the organizations. The other thing that helps with that mentor-mentee relationship from outside your org or that's within your working space, like your client or the vendor that you've hired, is it gives you that safety net for your network. So when I was in the oil and gas industry for a while, back in Alberta, it was from having connections with a vendor that we worked with that I was able to get a position because they knew my name, they knew my work style, etc. So it actually really helped me get that position. So let me know in chat if you've used your network to get yourself a job. I think that's probably the most common way folks do it these days. And again, if you're just tuning in, let me know if you have any PMP or CAPM questions. It's basically an open table for folks. We're doing this during our lunch hours so we can help folks get prepped up and get ready for the PMP. So if you have any questions at all for the PMP, CAPM, or project management, just fire it my way. Basically, we're just rapping about what does the PMP exam look like for folks so you can get a little bit more familiarity. Kind of like doing a little bit of a lunch and learn here off the side or off the desk. So if you're just calling in, let us know where you're from. Let us know what you got for PM certs or which one you might be thinking of. And let's chat about it. We're gonna go for another, I think, 5 or so minutes, and then we'll wrap up. A couple other things for folks. Yeah, if you've hopefully you've come across our channel. So we're doing lots of videos on project management education stuff, trying to get as much information out on project education and project management so folks can grow within their careers. So we're going to be launching our website in about a month and a half. I think that's the plan. So sometime near fall or end of September, we're going to be launching our Osprey project consulting website where you can get connected with our mentors, with our coaches. You can get connected with tools, templates, and you can sign up for either in-person or online project management courses, which is I think a lot of folks needs something, by way of education. So very excited to do that. So stay tuned. We'll definitely be launching that one in the fall, and yeah, that'll be an exciting venture for us. A couple other things, I'm calling in from Victoria, BC, Canada. We've got a really exciting opportunity coming up to do in-person PMP training with the Project Management Institute on Vancouver Island. So we're going to be doing that one in late October, running through to November, all the way through November, every Saturday. So it's going to be in person. You're going to have authorized training providers there from the PMI. So I'll be teaching under Island Health, and we'll be basically getting 20 folks set up and ready to write the PMP exam through the required education. So you got to get that 35 hours of education somewhere, and wouldn't you know it, an in-person workshop is probably the best way to do it. It's comparatively to like the online courses. Online courses are awesome. The only benefit with the in-person stuff is it gets you that back and forth conversation. So if there's a concept you don't quite get, you can ask it to your instructor and get a little bit more insight there. So definitely something to watch out for. So I think we'll wrap it there. Let me know in chat if you've got any topics you want to discuss for next time. Otherwise, we will see you again on next Wednesday. We're going to start at about 12 or 12 after. We'll run for about 30 minutes or less. And it's your opportunity to get yourself ready for the PMP exam. So I'd love to see some questions. Let me know if you guys have any at all. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, or follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, or any of our other socials. Okay, folks, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much, and have a great rest of your day.